togliere sta roba.
I'll watch you.
Dal mio cuore ti chiamo, Signore.
Quanti anni che piango per te,
Quanti anni che sogno vederti.
o Signore, ci vieni a me.
Non lasciarmi più così solo qui. Sono sempre tuo, verrai tu. Long I've called you, my Lord, long I've called you. Many years I have longed for your sight. Bathe the darkness with tears of devotion. Offered candles in prayer to your light. How much longer, friend, must I cry your name? I am yours, ever yours. Will you come? Some men call it progress,
Down with those who doubt, to join the causes others join, and shout when others shout. Come, you're a man, no passing stone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Go on alone, go on alone. Don't look back, just go on alone.
Claim the power within you.
Error to defy. The world may change or disappear, but truth can never die. Come, you're a man, no passive stone. Stand up and call your soul your own. Go on alone, go on alone. Banish weakness, go on alone. Go on alone, go on alone. Don't look back, just go on alone.
Good evening, everyone. Those who are here, friends who have been able also to come to this Temple of Light, and also those who are following us from home. Happy to have you here this evening. My name is Namasia, and for me, it is a privilege to be able to introduce and speak about this group, Living Discipleship. Those are the ones who meditated, thought, and created this event, this evening for us all, to honor Swamiji and his discipleship. On September 12th, 73 years ago, Swami Kriyananda found the light of his life, in meeting his guru, his master, Paramahansa Yogananda. And that is why we are here together to celebrate this event. Living Discipleship is a group that has known and been able to have this year, 2021, which has not been an easy year. You know that, no need to repeat it. But for this reason exactly, it's been a very important year for them, and blessed and precious. This group lived and has been able to go deeper, discovering and perfecting the 5 S's that Swami formulated. That is sadhana, that is our inner communion with the divine, meditating together, contacting the inner divinity that is all that we all have within us, and then be able to expand it in the second S, which is service, seva. And they have been able to serve in the community in many different ways. In our Bio and Love, the publishing house, the agricultural company, which is now being born and expanding ever more. And in the kitchen, transformation of products, and also in the guest retreat, when we were able to open again by law. And then with the third S that Swami gave is studying. That is to say, you try to think of this reality as a laboratory of inner studies. Studying the teachings, yes, but then each one of us is different, because relating to this teaching is for everyone is different and unique. And this was a wonderful way for a moment for them to discover much about themselves. The fourth S, not less important, is satsang. That is to say, being together in light ways, eating a pizza together, if COVID allows it, of course, or also sharing from heart to heart, so that this is possible. Deeper contacts when you go through experiences together, the sharing can become deeper. It's as if they discovered a community within a community, heart-opening moments of importance, like precious pearls. So this evening is like the fruit of what this year has meant to them, as if using this, as if they had cultivated a garden this year, and now you can see all the flowers sprout, all coming up of divine friendship, of cooperation, collaboration, devotion. And that is what we all this evening will feel together and experience. I have a question.
Ma perché non vieni qua con me? Così sentono tutti anche a casa ti sentono.
I'm very curious how to live discipleship. For me, even though I came here this weekend, moments of crossroads, I was here with all of you, and I bought all these malas to be able to be a good member, and I even memorized a beautiful poem by Yogananda, Samadhi. Vanished the veils of light and shade, lifted every vapor of sorrow, sailed away all dawns of... We know it, don't worry. I'm just doing my best to be a good disciple, but What does it mean?
Ma sai,
You know,
siamo tutti diversi.
we're all different.
Ognuno è una perla
Everyone is like a
diversa
pearl
dall'altra.
that is
Per
different
cui
from the
uno
other
può
pearls. So
guardare
the
dentro
point
il
is,
tuo cuore
go
e
deep
di
into your own heart and
sentire
feel
quale sia la
what
guida
is
che il tuo
the
maestro
guidance that
interiore,
Meister,
ti dà.
your own guru,
Non
is
c'è
giving to you.
una ricetta.
So there is no fixed recipe for it. There's no prescription. So yeah, I'm trying to attune myself to feel in my heart, but even listening to Swami's music and Yogananda also, because that uplifts the vibration, right? Yeah. But then sometimes I have decided to listen like, Michael Jackson, for example, Nirvana. And I don't know if I am allowed to do that. Well, even there the master says that it's all neutral, There's no real wrong or right,
Tutto è una vibrazione.
but everything has a vibration. So if the direction that you took is to go within and up, then we need to pay attention, especially in the beginning, to surround us with vibrations that uplift us, that allow us to go within and up, because we are also going against gravity. So you want to be with people who are interested, who have shared ideals, and and that is what satsang is. Just one more thing. I try to meditate, because that takes a lot of discipline, right? You need to go to bed early, get up even earlier. So I wake up, I'm there with my cellular and looking at my messages. And then I get up an hour later, and then I'm on Instagram. And then it's time to have breakfast and to start my day. The point is that a disciple needs a little discipline, That's the word itself, disciple. Don't worry so much, okay? Don't be too, let's say, try to flow. Be a little light. But in the beginning, it's good to be able to discern. Discernment is important. Thank you, Namasya, for this wisdom. But I still have a question, because living discipleship is a big thing. So life could be dedicated to this. And I don't know. Sometimes I find myself looking for examples that could really give me an idea of this concept of realization, of practicing. What does it mean to practice? I think what we can do now is, let's sit down. Here? Yes. There are two chairs there. And then we will just enjoy this evening, which is dedicated to Swamiji. I think he will give you a good example. What do you think? Okay, have a good evening, everyone. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening in which we want to celebrate Swami Kriyananda's discipleship, and also the meaning of discipleship. Discipleship meaning an immortal promise with your own guru and his disciple. And this immortal promise goes from the master to the disciple that guides us and takes us to God. The master is he who has already dispelled the darkness of Maya, has already known God, and he's the guide then. It's also an immortal promise from the disciple to his guru, to his own master. If giving him his trust, his devotion, his commitment, his efforts, his love. And this immortal promise is also eternal, because for ages we have been disciples of our master. But this promise, we need to rediscover it every day, making choices to practice and follow the teachings, to choose light, and to make the effort to be good disciples. Swami Kriyananda
ha rappresentato e
has
mantenuto
presented
questa promessa
and
al meglio e
kept
in
this
tutta la sua
promise
vita.
and he's done his best all through his
Soprattutto
life,
nel condividere
especially when he
l'insegnamento
shared the
del suo
teachings of
maestro.
his master.
E lo ha fatto,
And he did
come vedrete
so,
questa
as you
sera,
see this
attraverso
evening,
musica,
through
libri,
music, books,
cerimonie,
ceremonies.
fondando
He
le comunità di
founded,
fratellanza mondiale,
he
ed essendo
founded
anche un grande
communities,
discepolo.
and he was himself a shining example as a disciple.
Veramente
And all
due
these things are really good for humanity. They are gifts to humanity. The Living Discipleship Group has studied deeply what he has written about how to be a good disciple. And so we have been guided in our growth and also learning to live in this community, how to learn to live in this community. The evening will be, in the beginning, we will show you how Swami met Yogananda, his initiation, and then there will be music, songs, and some stories of people who knew him, and they will speak about his qualities, and in the end there will be an arati, which means a ceremony of devotion. So especially those who are at home, if you like, put a little flower and a candle near and think of something, an intention that you want to offer to renew this promise, your promise of discipleship, and also to express gratitude for what Swami has brought and has been for all of us. And I'd like to thank the whole group, on behalf of the group, our 4 guides who have accompanied us, 𝗟𝗜𝗩𝗘𝗦𝗪, Namasya, and Bhakti. Good translation. And then we thank the whole group, also the whole community that has given us time, testimonies, has invited us to their house, beautiful moments, but especially we thank them because they shared their discipleship with openness, simplicity, and sincerity. And we thank all those who helped us to organize this evening, behind the scenes, on the stage. And so thank you and have a good evening. My desire to drop out seemed, from every practical standpoint, wildly unrealistic. Worst of all, I knew so little of the spiritual path that I had no idea to walk it alone. I didn't know how to meditate, I didn't know how to pray. It was becoming clear to me that without proper guidance, I was as good as lost. What mattered to me most, however, was to know Him who be to know truth. Wherever my path led, I knew that I had only one valid choice: to offer my life to Him. From Brentanos, I went further up Fifth Avenue to another bookstore, Doubleday Duran, as it was named then. Here I found an entire section and books on Indian philosophy. This time, with my surprise, the first book I saw was one I hadn't noticed at first. The author's photograph on the cover affected me strangely. Never had I seen any face radiate back to me so much goodness, humility, and love. Eagerly I picked up the book and glanced again at its title, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramhansa Yogananda. The author, I saw, lived in California. Was this someone at last who could help me in my search? I waited until I had reached my room in Scarsdale before opening the book, and then began the most thrilling literary adventure of my life. I waited until I dissolved in the smallest detail to follow Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings. As soon as I finished reading Autobiography of a Yogi, my impulse was to jump onto the next California-bound bus. I took the next available westbound bus. I arrived in Los Angeles on the morning of Saturday, September 11th, 1948, exhausted from my long journey. From The New Path by Swami Kriyananda.
I am accepting only those now with good karma. In fact, I am taking very few disciples. You have good karma. God tells me to accept you. I give you my unconditional love. Will you give me yours?
Oh, yes. With all my heart. I give you my unconditional love. I love you for not what you can give me, but as your spiritual son and disciple.
Come, kneel before me. Now repeat these words after me. I will live my life
I will live my life
only for God.
only for God.
I will do His will
I would do His will
in everything,
in everything,
always.
always.
I give
I give
my unconditional love
unconditional love
and obedience
and obedience
to you,
to you,
my Guru,
my Guru,
and will no longer live
and will no longer live
for personal gratification.
personal gratification.
Help me, Lord,
Help me, Lord,
in this,
in this
my solemn vow.
my solemn vow.
Om,
Om,
peace.
peace.
Amen.
Amen.
now we have the pleasure and the honor to listen to stories shared by Helmut, Nea, Dana, Nari, and Uma, who will tell us their experiences, life experience with Swamiji, and how he was an example as a disciple for them, making the presence of the Master come closer and clearly felt. So,
Io mi chiamo Helmut e ho
My name
avuto
is
la
Helmut,
grande
and I've
fortuna
had the
di
great
conoscere
fortune
Swami
to
in...
togli quella maschera.
Come?
Togli quella mascherina.
Ah, good. But then I lose my ears. Perché ce l'ho a parecchi. Allora, avevo la grande fortuna di conoscere
I had the great
Swami
fortune
nell'anno
to meet
79
Swami in the
e
year 1979, and he immediately made a deep impression on me. And an interesting thing is, I was born on the 24th of September of 48, and so I believe I can imagine that I waited, met Yogananda, and so now I can be born just a few days after he met his guru. So when I met him the first time, then he sang with us a few songs that touched me, that sort of vibrated within, made one of the deeper strings of the violin of my heart, and the vibration was very strong, the resonance, and I thought, this man has something that I want to have. And so after I understood, after a few years, because I lived a few years, Swami visited, a dear friend came, who I met outside Ananda, even though Ananda was already important for me, and I understood that I wanted to, what I really wanted was this dedication to truth. We sang it, one of the songs we sang in the beginning where it says, the world may change or disappear, but truth never dies. Truth never dies. And this dedication to truth is that God is the only truth, that God exists, and that He is the only truth and reality in the world. I understood that that was what I desired, and Swami was thus an example for me, a perfect example for this dedication to his guru, to God, and to truth. He never went too far left or too far right. He never strayed from what he felt was true, that this the reality that we cannot change, and the whole world, everything that we take, that we think so real, is just a dream. And it takes time to understand that it's like that. But if we see that this is the truth. Another quality that Swami had that touched me deeply was his enthusiasm, his youthful enthusiasm. I remember when we celebrated his 48th anniversary, anniversary in 1988. We sang a few songs, and we didn't do that well. We hadn't yet much experience singing, but Swami heard it and he said, we must do a tour. We must do a tour, concert tour. And we thought, oh my God, a tour. But his enthusiasm was so, it was so contagious that it took us like a virus. And so we made this tour, and from this tour, many friends came, who heard us sing. We were in Germany, and Swami had a very broad vision of what could happen. And when he saw something, he brought. You know the story of Jesus when he said to his disciples that they were all fishermen. I will make you fishermen of people. And Swami was a fisherman like that. And those who opened up their heart for changing their life, he changed their life. And he made them disciples into Meister. Because Yogananda said, I don't have any disciples. Disciples belong to God. And this was another truth. The Guru is very important. But it's also important to understand that the true Guru is God. Guru did always like this when someone pronounced for him. And Swami also did that, always said that. So my wish for you is to follow his example and to keep it in your heart and say thank you, Swami.
So some years ago, I had an appointment with Swamiji at Crystal Hermitage.
Qualche anno fa avevo un appuntamento con Swami a Crystal Hermitage.
I woke up feeling discombobulated.
What's that? E mi sono svegliato sentendomi discombobulated.
Not very in the spine, kind of.
Non molto centrato.
And I actually called Lakshman and said, Lakshman, I can't come see Swami today because I'm...
Così ho chiamato il suo segretario Lakshman, ho detto no, non posso venire a vedere Swami oggi.
And he said, oh, Dana, I'm so glad you told me that because Swami never sees anyone if they're not already perfect.
Lakshman ha detto, sono così contento che mi dici perché Swami non vuole mai incontrare persone se non sono già perfette.
And so, of course, I came and...
Naturalmente ci sono andato.
It just showed me, because within moments of being in his presence, I was recombobulated, which is not actually a word.
E ho notato, dal momento in cui ero nella sua presenza, mi sono ricentrato.
And he didn't have to solve a problem for me or help me to figure something out, which is how I normally try to do things in life. It was his presence and his being, just who he was. Walking in the room, you forgot you had a problem.
E non è che lui doveva risolvere un problema per me o cercare di compirlo, che è il mio modo in genere di affrontare la vita, ma basta che lui c'era, la sua presenza, entrando in quella stanza, i problemi non c'erano più.
And so I realized too that many times the things that were happening on the surface, the events or whatever it was that was unfolding, were actually excuses or reasons to be in his presence.
E così spesso molte cose che succedevano, tipo eventi, eccetera, erano veramente il motivo nascosto semplicemente per essere nella sua presenza.
So one time I was working on the cover for the Bhagavad Gita, and there's this picture of Master's eyes that are on the cover. And
una volta stavo lavorando sulla copertina della Bhagavad Gita, dove tu vedi anche gli occhi del Maestro.
And I said, Swami, is it okay with you if I just do the eyes of Master with Photoshop, because I can use the eyes and put them on the cover? And he said, oh, sure.
E così gli ho chiesto a Swami, va bene se uso Photoshop per prendere gli occhi del Maestro e metterli dentro il dipinto che avevo fatto? E lui ha detto, certo.
So I arrived in India and unfurled the painting, and he said, where are the eyes?
E così arrivo in India, e gli faccio vedere il quadro, il dipinto, e lui dice, ma dove sono gli occhi?
And I said, Swami, they're in Photoshop.
Swami, sono nel Photoshop, nel programma del computer.
And he said, can you take them out of Photoshop?
E lui ha detto, li puoi togliere dal Photoshop e metterli qua?
But what what was great was that what happened was it meant that for 5 days I was in his office every day trying to paint the eyes on the painting because he needed the eyes on the painting.
E come risultato, i susseguenti 5 giorni stavo concentrato a cercare di dipingere questi occhi nel dipinto perché lui li voleva lì.
And I realized the whole reason for it didn't have anything to do with what was up here. It was an excuse for me to be able to be in his presence.
E mi sono reso conto di nuovo che tutto questo in realtà era soltanto per avere una scusa per essere nella sua presenza.
And I feel that that is true for so many things we do here. When we sing together, when we play together, when we serve together, it's really whatever's happening on the outside is not the story. The story is our being able to be in the presence of the Guru and each other.
E così lo sento anche che è valido per tante cose che facciamo qui, quando meditiamo insieme, giochiamo insieme, cantiamo insieme. In realtà questo è solo alla superficie, in profondità stiamo cercando di sentire la presenza del Guru e di farlo anche insieme.
So I learned from Swami that there's 2 storylines happening all the time.
E così da Swami ho sentito che in realtà ci sono 2 livelli di storie che si stanno svolgendo contemporaneamente.
And one is whatever it is that is the drama of the day in our lives, which has new episodes every day.
Uno è qualunque sia il dramma della giornata della nostra vita, ogni giorno porta una nuova puntata.
And underneath is our ability to just be in the presence of the divine and receive the grace that is given to us in that experience, in that moment.
Ma sotto c'è l'opportunità di vivere nella presenza del Divino e ricevere la sua grazia.
And some of us were lucky enough to be with Swamiji while he was in the body and receive how generous he was with the energy of grace and joy and love that just uplifted our spirits.
E alcuni di noi avevano la fortuna di essere spesso con Swami, di ricevere questa energia, questo amore, questo livello alto che lui dava sempre, che elevava i nostri spiriti.
But the truth is, it's no different now.
Ma in verità non c'è nessuna differenza, ancora è così.
And we can receive it anytime we just put ourselves in that presence.
Ma lo possiamo ricevere ogni volta quando semplicemente ci mettiamo in quella presenza.
And it's hard sometimes when we are discombobulated.
A volte è un po' difficile quando siamo discombustolati.
Because we want to hide and go,
Quando siamo decentrati.
don't look now.
Vogliamo nasconderci.
But it's when we bring ourselves there into the presence of the Guru that we are transformed.
Ma è quando ci mettiamo nella presenza del Guru che siamo trasformati. Grazie. When I met Swami, one of the first things that I noticed was his extreme lightness with which he faced life. When Yogananda said, live in this world but don't belong to this world, Swami was the highest expression of this principle. I just met him. When he saw me, he hugged me, he took me by the hand, and we walked for half an hour till we get to the airport. It was at the airport, hand in hand. And I understood what it meant to levitate, because nothing else existed. My body didn't exist. Thoughts didn't exist. Everything was annihilated. Everything was gone. And I was to some other planet, and to be able to be with a person like this, I knew what it meant to be near an angel. His lightness was so beautiful, so contagious, as Helmut said, that you could not but do anything else but smiling. And it wasn't just emotional laughing, it was a joy that would express itself through a smile. So the first time even my face muscles hurt, I wasn't used to smiling that much. But then it became a habit and a beautiful thing. And everyone who met him saw how beautiful he was. And how he would just take away, look beyond all the things that were within us that were not part of our soul. And he looked beyond, he took them away. One day, when I remember, we went to Spain, and he had a phrase by Cervantes, I didn't hear that, which is a phrase that means if you wake up earlier, the sun will not rise earlier, so take it easy, take your time. So when we got to Spain, we met a person, he would always say that phrase from Cervantes. What an illuminated sentence, aphorism, and then they laughed. Beautiful. And you understood that what it meant to be in the astral world. Even important things in life were light, became like feathers that could levitate. And he managed to transmit, to convey this grace in life, and he could convey it to every person who was near him. And he's still conveying it, transmitting it. The most important thing is to be in attunement with him. We don't have much time. First, I'd like to say, do you know what was the first film that I saw with Swami when he said, I will show you my favorite film. I thought it would be some great film, spiritual film, the Mahabharata or something. It was Bambi. I must have seen it 50 times with him. Every time. It was as if it was the first time you could enter this beautiful situation. Walt Disney was such a great producer. And you would be one with this little deer that then became this big deer. And it was a beautiful experience always to see his whole focus, completely focused on this cartoon. And I'd like to tell you the Swami's favorite joke. There were 4 ladies who meet at a certain time. The first one says to the other 3, my son has made a good career. He became a bishop. And people who meet him call him his eminenza, cardinale, his excellency. So they all call him his excellency. Oh, that's good. The second mother says, my son has become a cardinal, much better even. And people call him, they say, his eminence. Oh, that's an important man. The third says, my son has become Pope. And when they meet him, they call him His Holiness. And the fourth mother, what would she say? My son is 2 meter 20 old, has brought children. When people meet him, they said, oh my God.
Yeah, you can record from here. Volume. Good evening, everyone.
Buonasera a tutti.
Thank you for the
Grazie
little talks.
per I discorsi.
I was trying to think very hard about a story about Swami and devotion.
Ho pensato tanto per venire con una storia di Swami in relazione alla devozione.
And I couldn't think of any specific story.
E non mi venne nessuna storia specifica.
Because I realized that everything he did was an act of devotion.
perché mi sono reso conto che tutte le cose ogni cosa che faceva era un atto di devozione.
As we heard from Archana and saw in the movie clip,
Come abbiamo sentito da Archana e abbiamo visto anche nello spezzone del film,
Swami arrived at Master's Hermitage in 1948. That's the year I was born.
Swami arriva nell'eremitaggio del maestro nel 48, l'anno della mia nascita.
And all those years he dedicated his life, devoted, we say in English, devoted his life to his guru's work.
E da quel momento, tutti quegli anni, lui non fece altro che dedicare la sua vita con devozione all'opera del maestro.
And it's very, very interesting to think back when you first meet Swami, when you go and talk to Swami, etc.
E naturalmente è interessante riflettere quando incontrai Swami per la prima volta e parlasti con lui.
I worked with him for several years, very closely as an assistant.
Ero la sua assistente per parecchi anni, molto vicina a lui.
And I was very young and relatively new to Ananda.
Ero molto giovane ancora e abbastanza nuova ad Ananda.
And looking at all those, listening to the stories, looking at my own experience.
E quando ascolto le storie e guardo anche le mie esperienze,
what you realize is he, just as a human being, but especially as a devotee of Master,
ti rendi conto che come essere umano, ma specialmente come discepolo del Maestro,
was lived being an example.
era un esempio vivente,
He was an example of true discipleship.
un esempio di vero discepolato,
How to face difficulty.
come affrontare le difficoltà,
How to allow God and Master to use us as a channel.
come lasciare che il Maestro e Dio ci usino come canali.
Watching him, I'll back up. People, because I worked close with Swamiji, people would ask me, does he really energize twice a day?
Io che lavoravo vicino a Swami, le persone mi chiedevano, fa veramente la ricarica 2 volte al giorno?
Does he really meditate all the time, or what?
Medita veramente così tanto?
And people ask me enough that I finally would say, you don't think he meditates or energizes?
E alla fine io ho risposto, ma pensi che non mediti, che non faccia la ricarica?
But it wasn't that people thought he didn't. They wanted confirmation that their idol was real, was true.
Non è che pensassero che non facesse queste cose, volevano la conferma che il loro idolo era un essere vero.
And I can say, absolutely, he meditated, absolutely, he energized.
E potevo dire sicuramente, certo che medita e certo che fa la ricarica.
So I don't know where to be. Is this okay? So I was thinking that in those questions,
Così in quelle domande pensavo,
we all want someone to be who we feel they are or think they are.
vogliamo tutti che qualcuno sia così come noi vogliamo che sia o pensiamo che sia.
And of course, he was so much more.
Naturalmente lui era molto di più.
Sometimes I would walk into his house in the morning early, and he would say, "Did you energize?"
A volte entravo nella stanza la mattina, prima mattinata, e lui dice, hai fatto la ricarica?
And the first time I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because I'm going to energize. Do you want to come?" Whether or not I had energized, yes, I'm going to come.
E lui dice, perché io adesso faccio la ricarica fuori, vuoi venire con me? Ma io sarei venuto comunque, anche se avessi già fatto la ricarica.
And the same was true with meditation.
È la stessa cosa con la meditazione.
He would invite me to meditate with him. Yes, I need to meditate. Yes.
Sì, quando mi chiedeva di meditare con lui, dice sì, non ho ancora meditato, ho bisogno di meditare.
But I when I think of devotion particularly,
Ma quando penso alla devozione,
he was so devoted to us.
lui era così, era così devoto a noi anche.
His service to all of us
Aveva devozione e servizio a tutti noi.
continues now through us.
E questo continua adesso attraverso noi.
And we have the most wonderful, perfect example of how to live the spiritual life.
E abbiamo l'esempio più meraviglioso, più perfetto di come vivere la vita spirituale.
I think it's important to say that it doesn't matter if you knew him, as a person.
Penso che sia importante dire che in fondo non importa se tu l'hai conosciuto come persona.
Those of us that did are very thankful for that blessing.
Coloro di noi che l'hanno conosciuto sono molto grati di questa benedizione.
But it's, as I think Dana said, that in your heart, read his books, listen to his music, you'll know Swami.
Ma se con tuo cuore leggi i suoi libri, ascolti la sua musica, tu conosci Swami.
Talk to the people here,
E
because
parla con le persone qui.
Swami, people have said to me, and I'm sure they've said to others, oh, I wish I'd known Swami.
Le persone mi hanno detto, e sicuramente ad altri, magari avessi conosciuto Swami.
And I will say, you do know him because you know Ananda.
E io gli dico, tu lo conosci perché conosci Ananda.
It's his vision that has been fulfilled in Ananda.
È la sua visione che si è compiuta ad Ananda.
And it's Master's mission that he was fulfilling through Ananda.
Ed era la missione del Maestro che lui stava compiendo attraverso Ananda.
So for all of us, he is a great example and channel. And it's, he's a great example and channel.
Così per tutti noi lui è un grande esempio, un grande canale.
And I don't think any of us talk about him in the past tense.
E
It's
nessuno di noi
impossible.
ne parla nel tempo passato, è impossibile,
Because he's still here.
perché è sempre qui,
Just as the gurus are here.
così come i guru sono qui.
Swamiji is for all of us, just as Master is for all of us.
Swami è per tutti noi, come il Maestro è per tutti noi.
And all the words that come to mind when I think of him, his sense of humor,
E tutte le parole che mi vengono quando ci penso a lui, il suo senso dell'umorismo,
how he uplifted without even trying,
come lui elevava l'energia senza nemmeno provare, sforzarsi,
his devotion,
la sua devozione,
his incredible will.
la sua enorme, incredibile forza di volontà.
It's like the physical plane didn't exist for Swamiji.
Era come se il livello della creazione fisica non esisteva per Swami.
And by that I mean confronted with obstacles, confronted with huge challenges, didn't matter, we keep going.
Con questo voglio dire che anche di fronte a ostacoli, grandi sfide, non importava, lui andava avanti.
His incredible sense of balance
Il suo
about everything.
senso dell'equilibrio per tutte le cose.
Nothing shocked him, nothing upset him.
Niente lo spaventava, niente lo scioccava.
I remember a spiritual renewal week at the village in California.
Mi ricordo una settimana dedicata al rinnovamento spirituale al village in California.
And he was doing most of the morning classes, Swamiji.
E lui stava insegnando la maggior parte delle lezioni della mattina, Swami.
And there arrived a young man,
E arrivò un giovane,
and just like here, we had two sides and an aisle down the middle. This was outside.
e eravamo fuori e c'erano due schiere con di lato un corridoio.
And this young man happened to be Italian.
E questo
Amazing,
giovane era
in
italiano.
California. And he walked up the aisle, but he was completely naked.
E cammina lì ed era completamente nudo.
And he walked right up to Swami carrying his clothes.
E va da Swami portando nelle mani i suoi
And before the
vestiti.
young man could say anything,
E prima che potesse dire qualcosa,
Swamiji just very calmly said, please go and put your clothes on and then I'll talk to you.
Dice
Just
con molta
Like
calma,
this happened every day.
per favore vai di là, vestiti e poi ti parlerò, come se questo succedesse ogni giorno, una cosa del genere.
So there are many vignettes like that I'm sure we can all think of.
E così ci sono molte immagini che vengono, che sicuramente tutti
And
quanti...
they are so precious and such examples of how to behave as a disciple.
così preziosi e così anche come esempio di come comportarsi come discepolo.
So the beauty of his life
Così la bellezza della sua vita
as a disciple
come discepolo
is something we can all carry in our hearts always.
è qualcosa che possiamo tenere nel nostro cuore sempre
And it will help our own discipleship.
e aiuterà anche il nostro discepolato.
So God bless you all.
Così Dio vi benedica tutti.
Thank you, Swamiji. We are now going to have a flower ceremony. You all had a flower
Ora facciamo
on
la
your chair
cerimonia
when you
dei fiori.
arrived.
Avete tutti un fiore anche a casa.
And what will happen is there'll be some music playing, I'm sure. Yes, to meditate.
Ci sarà
Thank
qualche
you.
musica
And we will have you come up 4 at a time
e in 4 alla volta venite all'altare.
and offer your flowers at the altar wherever you wish.
Offrite il vostro fiore sull'altare dove vuoi.
But before we do that,
Ma prima
we are going to meditate just for a couple of minutes.
faremo una breve meditazione di qualche minuto.
And what we want to do in the meditation
E quello che vogliamo fare nella meditazione
is think about what you would like to say to Swamiji when you come up,
è pensare a quello che vorresti dire a Swami quando vieni,
what you would like to offer to Swamiji
quello
when
che
you come
vorresti
up,
offrire a Swami quando vieni,
what you are grateful to Swamiji for in your life already.
di che cosa sei già grato a Swami nella tua vita.
So tuning into his discipleship, helping our discipleship as we make the offering.
Così sintonizziamoci con il suo discepolato e questo aiuterà il nostro discepolato quando facciamo la nostra offerta.
So we'll take a couple of minutes to do that.
Quindi
Okay?
meditiamo per qualche minuto.
Maybe. Thank you. So first, let's focus at the spiritual eye.
Focalizziamo la mente al punto tra le sopracciglia.
Bring the eyes there. Feel as if you're breathing from that point.
Senti che stai respirando da quel punto lì.
And now move to the heart. Move your attention to your heart.
Ora vai con l'attenzione nel cuore
And feel in your heart your love for Swamiji,
e nel cuore senti l'amore per Swami, il tuo amore per Swami,
your love for Master,
per il Maestro.
and think of all that Swamiji has done in
Pensa,
his life.
pensa a tutto quello che Swami ha fatto nella sua vita,
How much that life has helped you.
e quanto quella sua vita ha aiutato la tua.
Think of what you are grateful to him for.
Pensa a che cosa ti fa sentire grato. verso di Lui.
Think specifically of what you would like to thank Swamiji for.
E specificatamente di che cosa vorresti ringraziare Swamiji.
Shanti. Amen. And now I remind you again, you can come up 4 at a time
Quindi 4 alla volta.
and make your offering.
Fai la tua offerta.
Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Too long I did stray, flung lifetimes away, imagined you did not care. I know now your smile was mine all the while. I listened and love was there. I can't breathe for love, all the stars above call to me, come home. Life's waves all end in foam. Only love can heal all the pain I feel. What a fool was I to turn away. is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Too long I did stray, flung lifetimes away, imagined you did not care. I know now your smile was mine all the while. I listened and love was there. I can't breathe for love, all the stars above call to me, come home. Life's waves all end in foam, only love can heal all the pain I feel. What a fool was I to turn away.
Porta del mio cuore, tengo aperta io per te. Porta del mio cuore, tengo aperta io per te. Vedrai tu, una volta vieni a me. Vedrai tu, una volta vieni a me. Fuggiranno i miei dì senza vederti, Signore. Fuggiranno i miei dì senza vederti, Signor. Notte di, io ti cerco, notte di, io ti cerco, notte di, porta del mio cuore, tengo aperta io per te, porta del mio cuore, tengo aperta io per te, vedrai tu, una volta vieni a me, vedrai tu, una volta vieni a me, fuggiranno i miei dì senza vederti, Signor, fuggiranno i miei dì senza vederti, Signor, notte di, io ti cerco, notte di, io ti cerco, notte di, porta del mio cuore, tengo aperta io per te, porta del mio cuore, tengo aperta io per te, vedrai tu, una volta vieni a me, vedrai tu, una volta vieni a me, fuggiranno i miei dì senza vederti, Signor, fuggiranno i miei dì senza vederti, Signor, notte di, io ti cerco, 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 notte di. Quindi concludiamo questa bellissima serata in cui ho imparato tutto di come essere una buona, bella discepolo.
So we will finish this evening in which I've learned everything on how to be a good disciple, sending these blessings to the whole world. And we would like to invite the whole group of Living Discipleship to come up to the stage to send them a special blessing. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, a friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, 𝗟𝗜𝗩𝗪𝗓𝗓, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, a beloved Gurudeva, Paramahansa Yogananda, friend and guide, Swami Kriyananda. To all we bow, all of you we bow with humility and infinite gratitude for this life, for this friendship, for this family. Guide us, and may we be pure channels of your love on earth. Guide our thoughts, our acts, and make that we be inspired by your consciousness. Beloved Swamiji, thank you for what you have left us, for this family, for these blessings, for this life. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Amen. Oh.